Before the pandemic, there was already a shortage of houses. But when demand went through the roof because they had to lower rates to keep the economy from crashing, the supply level was even less. As we are now a year or so removed from that pandemic demand, where does that leave inventory for the state of Florida? Some new data is comparing available homes for sale throughout counties in Florida from pre-pandemic to now. The counties that are in blue or teal have seen an increase in their inventory since 4 years ago, while counties in tan or brown are dealing with less homes for sale now than before COVID. Reasons for this can vary. For example, in Dixie County, the inventory has plummeted, but that is due in large part to the devastating hurricane that wiped out a lot of the available housing this past year. You see the reverse in some areas that were affected by hurricanes 2 years ago. They've had a chance to rebuild, but a lot of people have left because of fear of another storm or rising insurance costs, so they're left with some extra inventory. But are people leaving or coming to Florida? A really interesting article from Yahoo Finance tracked U-Haul migration patterns and found that Florida had 7 of the top 25 cities with the largest net migration. In fact, that article stated the Palm Bay Melbourne market registered the largest net gain of one-way U-Haul movers. This is the 7th year in a row that Florida has had the most cities on the list. Ocala was in the #1 spot last year. You can thank the World Equestrian Center for that, but this year it's fallen to #2. Other Florida spots that made the top 25 include Sarasota Bradenton, Kissimmee St. Cloud, Panama City Panama Beach, Lakeland, and Northport. A recent article from Business Insider reported census data that showed the top 3 states in population were South Carolina, Florida, and Texas, while New York, Hawaii, and Louisiana had the biggest losses. So is housing supply up or is it down? What is happening? If you compare inventory on an annual basis and look at the year-over-year numbers, year-over-year, Florida inventory is up 13.9%. But that's just over the last year. Let's compare the last 13 years to see where we fall on inventory. November is the most recent available data that we have from Florida Realtors. So in November of 2011, we had over 135,000 homes for sale in Florida. Now, as of November of 2023, we had about 79,000. And this is the nuance that so many people are missing. Year over year, inventory is up. But in the grand scheme of things, we have a lot of ground to make up. The pandemic made everything wonky. I mean, look at the Florida inventory in April of 2020 and the months after. Buyer demand was so high during that time with super low interest rates that inventory just dwindled, and we were already short on inventory. Then you can see a sharp contrast in 2022. This is when they started raising the interest rates to cool down inflation, and buyer demand settled as the interest rates went up. So inventory climbed. In the short term, inventory is definitely on the rise, but we've still got a long way to go before we're balanced. The pandemic was unprecedented, so the recovery afterwards is gonna feel like unknown territory, because it is. You know as well as I do that nobody can predict the future, but using the available data that we have, I've got some really interesting predictions for what I think 2024 is going to hold. I'm Lindsey Johnson, your resource for all things real estate. See you next time.